What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Yard Red Festival, a tournament where all the proceeds do go to the Red Cross. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the tournament. And first of all, would just like to quickly apologize to anyone watching on the VODs, because for some reason my OBS decided to stop recording halfway through that game. Like, I didn't touch the streaming thing, but it just stopped. So only half of the first half of the game, the last game, was recorded. So I don't know what happened. I mean, it just stopped working. So if you're watching on the VODs, then my apologies. But spoiler alert, Team Yard did take game number 1 out from the Hellraisers. I'm pretty sure the first half of the game was enough so that you could get the idea of what happened for the second half. It was pretty much just more of that, except Team Yard doing it more convincingly, as they did go for the death ball, and it was pretty terrifying with Pugna, Razor, and Bristleback all being just such high threats. Plus Ogre Magi doing a lot of damage as well. Team Yard were able to steamroll Hellraisers, who really couldn't get their support roaming bounty hunter off the ground with a lot of track gold. They were in the advantage for a little bit, but then Team Yard just crashed in with all their pushing, and there wasn't really much that Hellraisers could do about that at that point. But they will have a lot more to do about that in this game. Brewmaster, that's it. I mean, that is what you need in order to deal with the pushing lineup. You have to be able to initiate on them and then take team fight. I said last game in the draft that what Hellraisers had going for them was that they had a ton of initiation, but not that much team fight. And you could really see the impact of that. I mean, like, they got in, which is great, but if you don't take a team fight afterwards, then most of the time you're just going to be losing. So the fact that now the Brewmaster, who's both initiation and team fight, is going to mean that they're much more well prepared to deal with what Team Yard have to throw at them. Pugna Viper is extremely strong as far as pushing and deathballing is concerned, but they're going to get the Jakiro banned out from them. Still Ogre Magi's in the pool. If they want to pick that one up, then they'll be pretty happy, but this game is going to be a lot easier for Hellraisers to deal with, just because they do have that Brewmaster. If it does end up being a Viper versus Brewmaster lane, it's not the best for Brewmaster, but he's not going to be absolutely crushed either. He shouldn't be. I expect it to be relatively even, and I also expect Hellraisers to go for something a little bit more standard, a little bit more safe. Going for Legion as well as a support bounty hunter seems incredibly greedy to me, and it worked for a little bit, but it can only work for so long, and we do see the respect from game number 1 showing its impact in game number 2 here, as Jakiro and Bristleback, 2 huge problem heroes from last game, are going to be kicked out immediately. So Team Yard, they're going to be forced to play into a kind of a different strategy, and they already have Pugna and Viper, so their strategy is more or less set, so it'll be hard for them to transition. Last time they banned out the Tidehunter as well as the Centaur. Again, getting rid of those giant teamfight initiators is going to be very beneficial to them, although Batrider is another one of those initiators, and I think it would have been very likely that Hellraisers were to pick that one up, and now Team Yard are going to pick up a Centaur for themselves, instantly responded to by Nature's Prophet, so these picks are coming out mighty quick. Centaur, Warrunner, Viper, Pugna are all most likely going to be handling lanes as the core heroes for Team Yard. They do still need 2 support heroes. I don't think this is going to be as push-oriented as the last game was for Yard. It's going to be a lot more team fighting, a lot more pickoffs, kind of what Hellraisers were trying to do in the last game. Blink Dagger on Centaur, as always, is going to be incredibly important when you're dealing with the Nature's Prophet plus a Skywrath Mage. So they're going to need a little bit of support in order to protect the Pugna. Obviously, range heroes are going to be a little bit better. Stuns are going to be preferable as well because you are dealing with the Brewmaster and the Nature's Prophet. So maybe Eventual Spirit is in order here. Would help them a lot with their damage output. As far as other support heroes are concerned, I don't think this is going to be a real Shadow Demon Bane type of game, although it could work. It's probably not the best. I think it's probably going to be Eventual Spirit. Earthshaker would be kind of average for Team Yard. They're going to pick up that Earthshaker. It's not the best hero to combo with Pugna. It's decent, but I think I'd rather like to see the Wraith King. It's a bulkier front line so that Pugna can hide behind him. Although you don't really need too much bulk when you're dealing with Centaur and Viper. Those are lots of frontline heroes for Pugna to hide behind already. Earthshaker is mostly going to be a super defensive pick for Team Yard. Their objective with this hero is to keep Pugna safe in the early stages, get him to his quick mech, and then try to just push down towers from there on out. And it is a possibility. Now with the Earthshaker, they're probably going to be a little bit more defensive in their laning choices, so Ancient Apparition gets a little bit better in this circumstance. Still going for any sort of stunning will be great. Shadow Shaman would actually work very well with the Pugna, and I'm actually surprised Team Yard haven't considered that one at all, so would like to see those types of heroes that could play pretty defensively. They could roam around if needed, but odds are Centaur and Viper aren't going to need that many rotations up towards their lanes, so Yard could play the full-on defensive tri-lane game and just put shields up and try not to lose that much. And it should be working out pretty decently for them. We do see a Luna ban out, and Ancient Apparition, it's going to be banned out from Hellraisers. I was kind of right. I mean, whenever I say like teams could pick up this and it would work out for them, and then those heroes get banned, I feel like that's a win for me. Like, it's me recognizing the same thing that Art Style is realizing, and I'm okay with that. I'm so okay with that. So it is going to be an Ancient Apparition ban, as Team Yard going to be looking for their final support hero. I sure as hell hope they do not run Pugna or Centaur in support. I mean, those heroes are sometimes seen. I absolutely detest Pugna support. I feel like it's absolute garbage. Centaur support could sometimes work, but not with Earthshaker. 2 melee supports is not what you want to have happen. A Silencer is going to be the pickup. Silencer, I think, is another hero that, as a support, is pretty bad. But regardless, he's going to be picked up. And now Hellraisers go for a Chen. Okay, so Art Style Chen, that used to be a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing. I'm sure Chen hasn't really changed that much, so it'll still work. And Hellraisers are going to be looking to be a lot more aggressive in this game. With Chen and Skywrath Mage as the 2 support heroes, it'll be a lot easier for the Hellraisers to make early aggression happen, which is kind of what we saw them lacking in the last game. Artstyle's going to be able to push down towers, and together with Nature's Prophet, there's a lot of unit-based pushing. Yard are not really too prepared for. They have Earthshaker Fissure, but that's about the extent of their AoE, so I expect this Hellraiser to line up to get off the ground a lot more effectively, and for Yard's AoE early game pushing to be less effective. Chen is pretty good at dealing with that. If he comes around the back of the push with the 2 or 3 creeps, suddenly you're not feeling as comfortable as you once were. So we're going to see how this game actually shapes up as each team is going to load up into their lanes. We got Chen being played by Art Style. We'll be heading towards the jungle, obviously. I have yet to see a laning Chen, guys. That'll be the day, but it is not this day. Ruage is going to be on the Wraith King, farming up the bottom lane along with Dread as the support Skywrath Mage. Svet is going to be handling the mid lane Brewmaster. That leaves Dive in. On the Nature's Prophet, will head up towards top. JK is going to be supporting as the Silencer. He's going to be supporting Delirium's Pugna once again. No one's going to be handling the mid lane Viper. Played Razor last game, very similar heroes in their role. Pashubashu is going to be on the Centaur Warrunner down bottom. Maybe supported by the Earthshaker, just for a little while, but for the most part, it's probably going to be Zinka's Earthshaker playing with the top lane and protecting their Pugna. They don't really have to worry too much about the Pugna versus Nature's Prophet. Not the best lane for a Pugna, but it is a manageable lane for sure. The Pugna is probably not going to be in too much of a threat of dying, and Chen and Scarith Mage, though they can make pretty deadly rotations, they're not going to rotate up to the top lane, or they probably will not rotate up to the top lane for a very long time. So the top lane for Pugna is going to be, for the most part, very safe, even though they're actually going to put 2 support heroes up there. So 2 support heroes is going to guarantee his safety, kind of unnecessarily so, but they're still going to get their pulls off, and or they should, as long as these treants aren't constantly blocking everything. We'll see how good the Nature's Prophet of Dive-In is as far as keeping everyone back. No one's going to be initiated upon over on mid. Concussive and the Clap is going to be doing quite a bit of damage. He's actually leveled up Nether Toxin level 1. This is why you save your skill point as a level 1 hero. And they saw the Centaur saw the Invis rune being picked up. So that shouldn't have happened, guys. That really should not have happened at all. Because if you know someone's invisible, you don't play that far out. No one just feeling way too comfortable with where he was at and ended up giving up first blood because of it. A pretty large misplay. I mean, giving a kill to the enemy, Scarith Mage, is dangerous for sure, and especially when this happens. Now Bashu's in a lot of trouble. He's going to land a stomp, slow down Ruage. He could have turned around and possibly tried to kill off that Wraith King, but instead he's going to survive. The Centaur is pretty tanky, and with the stomp from the Centaur, stomping the other Centaur, it's going to mean the Centaur gets to live. Yes. Yes, that sentence just happened, guys. The Centaur Warrunner gets to walk back home, and Chen's first attempt at a gank. I mean, with the Centaur Conqueror, it's pretty much as good as it gets. Maybe the Troll is a little bit better, but for the most part, it's not going to get much better than that. And Centaur is able to survive that onslaught. Ruage is going to get stunned up as well. If he didn't get stunned, then it would have most certainly been a kill, but, layering the stuns a little bit poorly, perhaps. Hellraiser is going to be happy with just the first blood. Oh no, just the first blood. What a tragedy. 1-0 in favor of the Hellraisers. What they have to do is just keep this aggression up. Wraith King is most likely going to be going for a Blink Dagger this game. Scarith Mage and Chen, they're going to make their first rotation over towards the middle lane. Centaur, not with too much HP, but the Viper is playing very aggressively right now and has 2 points Nether Toxin, no points in Corrosive Skin. Really not expecting any sort of rotations. No one on the middle lane is going to be very surprised by this. However, he does have Earthshaker right behind him to support, and Earthshaker, you better not leave this Viper alone, because Svet is making things very clear. Concussive Shot is out, and Fissure will be able to block everyone out. Nature's Prophet can teleport in as well, or think about it. And Haste Rune onto Dread. You're going to take a couple of tower shots. Going to get hit very hard by the poison attack. But Earthshaker in the right place at the right time. That's the sort of defensive capabilities that you would expect from an Earthshaker, pretty much non-stop. And when your Viper is running such an aggressive build, you kind of do need to protect him a little bit. Usually it's Viper is very tanky. That's what you hear everyone say. It's like, oh, Viper, he's on the front lines. He'll be tanky because he goes for mech and stuff like that. It only actually works if you go for Corrosive Skin and go for actual survivability items. Right now, Viper is pretty fragile. So his survivability is going to be fairly limited until he gets his levels up into the Corrosive Skin, or until he picks up like Power Tread Strength or a Mechanism or something like that. Until that happens, it's going to be Viper fairly vulnerable to these types of rotations, but only if the Earthshaker isn't there to back him up, which so far has been the case for the most part. So 3 minutes in, Artstyle is now going to start stacking up this camp. Going to be looking for some Wild Wings. There is one already, so stack up into Tornado Clear is pretty much the best way you could farm as Chen. Of course, I never do it because it's way too much work, and I don't really care for Chen, but if you are a good Chen player, that's what you pretty much want to do. So Chen's going to be farming. We'll be most likely rushing up that mech for his team, so that everyone else, no one else was going to be getting it anyway, so I guess that's fair to say. Chen is going to be the one to go for that item. Top lane Delirium is getting a pretty much free time up against this Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet has a lot more CS than I really would have thought, however. JK is not able to pressure the Nature's Prophet back so much, and he's actually gone for a lot of Curse of the Silent. Keeping Nature's Prophet's mana pool low is going to help them actually a lot more than you would expect. Because Nature's Prophet's lane control is almost 100% because of his treants, if you deny him those treants constantly, then like that, he can't do anything. He's not going to use teleport. He's just going to be forced to take all this damage and lose a whole bunch of mana. That nuke did a ton of damage to the Nature's Prophet, and now he doesn't have any lane control tools. A Nature's Prophet without treants is a rather mediocre hero, mediocre to bad, I would say. They're going to go Svet over on the middle lane. Drunken Brawler is going to dodge a couple of shots, but he doesn't have any more. He's going to die to the Nether Toxin. That's 2 points of Nether Toxin going to work. Viper, Earthshaker getting retaliation kill onto Svet over on the middle lane. They're going to go for Pashubashu over at bot at the same time. Rouge has a level 2 stun, but he's not going to die with tier 2 tower for that. A little bit too ambitious there. Either way, it is a kill for no one over on the mid lane. 13 for 9 versus the 12 for 4. I mean, we did see this last game where Yard were pretty much getting more picks, although losing the lanes. And that's not the best situation, but it is, like, decent enough. They're going to try to race Artstyle for this rune. Earthshaker needs more mana. Artstyle's going to grab the bounty rune. Now no one's going to take quite a bit of damage. Fissure is going to wall off Svet almost completely, and now no one's going to start bottling up. He could kill for a kill on Artstyle right here, but Earthshaker is bailing out, and no one's taking quite a bit of damage from this one. He does have 2 points corrosive, but it's not going to help you against true damage of Test of Faith. Chen's going to get the solo kill, or get the kill for the team. That's going to be a pretty easy one. That was kind of aggressive from the Viper. Definitely overestimating his tankiness. His pure damage is going to cut through your Viper pretty much no matter what happens. That's going to be another easy kill for the Hellraisers, plus a bounty rune for the Chen. Gonna give him a nice 1,200 gold total, where I'm assuming it's going to be Arcane Boots, currently completely tapped out of mana, really wants to have that mana. Pashubashu, 20 HP, is going to survive, stomp in to dive in, but the vision that Nature's Prophet gave by teleporting in is going to get the kill on the Centaur in the end. This game is going a lot better for Hellraisers than the last, but we saw the last game start off with like a 2,000 gold advantage for the Hellraisers, and then Yard started to push in. That's not exactly going to happen this game because they don't have a Jakiro, so they can't push as easily. They have a Pugna who's able to push pretty much all the time, but Pugna, he's level 5, doesn't have Arcane Boots just yet, so the pushing from him is going to be a little bit limited. The tower is still very healthy, although it will take its chip damage eventually. Hellraisers have a much better team in order to fight in the early stages of the game, and Yard are certainly feeling that impact right now. 3 for 1, whereas last game it wasn't nearly going as well, I don't think, for the Hellraiser side. The Earthshaker isn't getting that much. Centaur isn't getting that much either. In fact, Centaur only sitting on Tranquil Boots. That's pretty much it. Spent all his gold to buy those. He's going to want to go for his Blink Dagger so that he can actually start these fights. Once he gets that, then the Yard team are going to feel pretty good. But that's a very, very far away item. I mean, that's 2,200 gold away. That's quite a large chunk of time where the Centaur is not going to be holding that item. In the meantime, Wraith King, he's holding on to a lot more gold. And level 4 Wraith King, or level 6 Wraith King rather, can pretty much manhandle a Centaur. Although double-edged spam is freaking annoying, no matter who you are. But Centaur is going to get a little bit of chance to get some experience. They're setting up potentially for the Earthshaker. But Pashubashu is not being cool about this at all. I mean, he's diving deep for this one. He's like, yo, I know I have support. I could take this. Instead of playing it cool. In those situations, guys, you got to play it cool. Be cool, guys. Be cool. Chen and Skywrath Mage looking to set up over on mid, where it's already Svet going hard onto the Viper. Now level 6, the Brewmaster is pretty much invulnerable in this lane right now. Yard cannot get this kill unless they have Global Silence, and they don't have Global Silence, so not going to be an option there. Earthshaker still rotating around, not really getting that much done, actually. Making sure his teammates are safe, which is nice, but certainly not going to be useful enough. Pugna's still up on top, along with JK, and they're doing quite a bit of damage to this tower. 2 more blasts will kill it off, and really, Nature's Prophet, he can't do anything about this. He might be able to get a deny if he's super lucky, and if Pugna miscounts his damage output or something, but that's about it. Ruage gonna get the slow up onto Pashubashu. 2 right clicks is gonna kill off this Centaur. That's 1 kill. Now Ruage gonna respawn. He's gonna go for JK, who foolishly teleported into this one. Double crits in a row. Really, that was some pretty nice luck from Ruage, although I think he would have gotten the kill anyway. Now the Viper Strike onto this Wraith King. Has Power Treads and a Wraith Fire Blast, but the Viper Strike is doing quite a bit of slowing action. Only 1 point in poison attack though, and Viper only has Brown Boots. He's gonna let this Wraith King get away. That's a failed rotation from both the Silencer and the Viper, and they're gonna lose mid lane as well, it looks like. And right now, Hellraisers, they're just firing off on all cylinders. Divin's going to circle around, catch Zinka. Concussive Shot is there as well as Shockwave. Arcane Bolt is going to kill off the Earthshaker. That's 6 for 1 advantage in favor of the Hellraisers. This is a little bit more of a safer team comp from them, and Artstyle, please don't die to the tower. That would be embarrassing. He's going to live. And this is pretty much what I expected from Hellraisers in game number 1. This type of play where they are constantly making the rotations in, where they're having numbers advantage, and this is where the experience of the team in general is going to come into play. Their tower pushing is going to be stopped for now. Here comes JK, going to land a pretty... that was actually a terrible Curse of the Silent, only onto the Skywrath Mage. He had an opportunity to land on 3, but not going to matter too much in the end. Still 6 for 1 advantage. Tower is going to be denied. A little bit of a win for the Yard team. But still, they're not getting that much of anything anywhere else around the map. Pugna's almost at his mechanism, but having an almost mechanism is not the same as having a mechanism. And Hellraisers, with the Chen level 5, is now going to be able to pick up 2 creeps and then just go to town on those towers is almost at Hand of God as well. So pretty much everything is going right for the Hellraisers this game. They're getting farm on the Wraith King, which is what they want. The Blink Dagger is coming up soon enough for Svet, so he'll be able to start these fights. And Yard, the Viper has not even power treads yet. The Viper actually doesn't have that much. He's 3,300 gold in net worth. It's not too bad, but it feels like his items are just kind of wasted. He's gone for Magic Wand, Bottle, Belt of Giant Strength, not even treads yet. Oh, there we go, treads. So a little bit more now. But No Name is not going to be able to do that much because he doesn't have that much sticking power. He's got to rely very heavily on his allies to survive. And speaking of, Earthshaker going to get roughed up, I assume by jungle creeps. Yeah, it looks like he was messing with these a little bit. But it's going to be Hellraisers going for a late game contingency plan with the Nature's Prophet Midas, it looks like. And they're going to dive in over towards bottom. No, it's not going to be that. Viper's going to teleport in. And Stampede is out. They want in, but there's a net onto no one. Now here comes Artstyle, who's actually very weak. Instantly pops to the Hand of God, and no one's going to get obliterated by the Chen creeps plus the Brewmaster. And now JK also very weak. Going to get chased down. Dread has a concussive shot, but he's going to get clipped with the Fissure. Ruage, he does not have a reincarnation, so he's got to play this one a little bit safer. But Yard really don't have much going for them in this bottom lane, so they can't make a defense, and they will lose a tower. It looks like they might even lose a secondary tower. Ruage does not have any Vamp Aura, which is kind of unfortunate. Would have certainly been of great use here, but still, with Fissure's only the only tool that Yard have in order to deal with this one, even though Artstyle is really roughed up, he's going to be healthy enough to fight down this tower. And really, Yard are getting a little bit up on top as Delirium is pushing that out, but they're going to lose the entirety of their bottom lane. This is what happens when you have a Chen on the other side. The difference that 2 neutral creeps makes is absolutely huge. Even though Centaur doesn't have that aura anymore, just adding a bulky body to the front lines means the tower is hitting a Centaur instead of hitting your creeps. And just like that, it's going to be 2 towers down on the bottom lane. The scary thing is, Hellraisers didn't really invest that much into it. They just got 2 creeps in the Chen, and then they went for it. Chen, almost level 7, is going to have his 3rd creep soon enough, and he's going to go for that mech now. So 3rd creep on Artstyle means that the mid lane and top lane are going to be the next targets for the Hellraisers. And once those pushes come through, Yard are going to have a mech to deal with it, and level 3 Nether Ward, which is pretty good. It's nothing too fantastic, but it'll definitely help out. It's not going to be enough, though. I mean, the tier 1 is definitely forfeit once Artstyle makes his rotation up there. There's pretty much nothing you can do about that. Unless Artstyle just gets the worst creeps possible. I mean, this is okay. The regen aura is actually pretty useful. It's hard to notice, for sure, but it does add a lot. I mean, look at Chen's HP. So much regen. Heart of Tarask, pretty much, on Chen. 7-1 and a whole bunch of tower gold in their favor. This is an advantage that Hellraisers can actually work with pretty comfortably. That's what they want to see. Blink Dagger and Brewmaster, that's also what they want to see. Now I'm going to try to go for a Centaur. That's very difficult because he's just going to stampede and run away. He's going to get stunned up, Svet, and Nature's Prophet coming in a little bit too late. But it's only a Blink Clap being used. At least he didn't split for nothing. So it's going to be yet another win for the Hellraisers as they force out the Centaur Stampede. It's not the highest cooldown spell, so he'll have it up again when he needs it. Or he should, unless Hellraisers decide to go right now. But Artstyle, actually, he does have his 3 Chen creeps. He does have a Buckler flying out. Oh, that was actually completed mech. Holy crap. I saw him complete his Buckler, and I'm like, oh, he's not going to have that much. But I guess clearing off a giant stack of creeps is going to give you a lot of gold. This just in. And Chen level 7 with a mech, Arcane Boots 12 minutes into the game. That's pretty much perfect. Like, that's where you want to be exactly as Chen. He is hitting the ideal. This is textbook Chen. Print it and then sell it to school children at like $300 for a textbook that's only going to be updated a couple times every year, but you're going to charge them extra for it every single time, even though it's not going to be changed. Svet is going to be hit with a Fissure up on top as he is hunting and running interference for the rest of his team. He's going to clap and split onto Zinkai. He should split. There it is. Earthshaker's dead. He has no way of escaping this one unless Brewmaster really just has a stroke or something. Yeah, Zinka's going to go down. But now Brewmaster's in a little bit of an awkward position. He's completely surrounded. He's going to run away with everybody or turn around and go for Delirium. No? He's going to instead probably blink towards the Roshan pit. That seems to be the safest. He's going to blink southwards, and he's going to be just fine. In the meantime, top lane, there is a huge swarm of stuff just pushing up this top lane. And Yard can't do jack about this. They need all 5 heroes here. They're going to lose yet another tier 2 tower, and really this is pretty much what Yard were doing last game. Maybe not as aggressively, not this early, but this is a death ball of Hellraisers, pretty much showing Yard how it's done. And Ruij on the front lines looking for a stun. Gonna land onto Delirium. Instantly going for the Nether Ward. I like this choice from the Hellraisers. Killing that off is gonna open up Dread for so much more damage later on. There goes the Ward, but Dread's still in a lot of danger. He's stampeded upon. Mystic Flare is dropped into no one. Full on Mystic Flare, and he's still alive actually. The Ruij Wraith King is still alive. He's going to get the slow onto everyone. JK does go down slow. Gonna catch 3. Now it's gonna be 2 deaths for the Yard side. Another blast is gonna fly through from Ruij. Gonna get clipped with the fissure, but Delirium's still in a little bit of trouble. Ruij has a maxed out crit, and he's doing quite a bit of damage with the attack speed that he has. The Hellraisers lose absolutely no one through Global Silence, through the Stampede, and they take 2 heroes plus the tower. And now Wraith King has a Force Staff. Usually it's Blink Dagger. I guess the difference is minimal, I think. So Ruij is going to be able to start these fights, and he's going to be going for these super aggressive early game items. I mean, with the drum as well as the Force Staff, I wouldn't be surprised to see an armlet picked up next. The Hellraisers just completely caved out the top lane of the Yard team. And once Artstyle gets back to his base, he still has 3 full health creeps. Not that much mana on the Centaur, but it's enough for 1 stomp, and really that's all you should need. The mid lane tier 2 is going to be the next objective. And Yard, they need a Blink Dagger on their Centaur so desperately. He does have it now, but can he do anything with it? That's the big question. Because last time they got a Global Silence Stampede in, but they couldn't even kill off a Skywrath Mage. They haven't lost anyone Hellraisers for a very long time. Now they're looking to set up over on mid, a Blinking Brewmaster with a split up in 15 seconds, plus Chen and Dive-In, who are going to be very quickly returning to this mid lane. This tower's in quite a bit of trouble. It could be Roshan, however. Vamp Aura is level 2, level 1 on the Wraith King. So it will be a pretty safe Roshan, especially if Chen rotates his creeps in. They'll be able to take this one pretty easily. Yeah, it's a safe, although a little bit slow Roshan. Yard, they have a Blink Dagger on Centaur, but that's about it. If Shager had a Blink Dagger, then this would not be a smart move for the Hellraiser. But they're going to catch Delirium off in an awkward position. Blink forward from Svet with Split and Mystic Flare. Delirium's going to mech up, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to be bursted down very quickly. Now the stun onto JK. Zinka going to get a pretty nice opportunity for an Echo Slam, but he's not going to throw it out. JK's still on the run. He's going to be brought down. No Global Silence for him, as he is going to take a fall. Now jump in for Pashu Pashu. Going to land 2-man stun with a nice 2-man double edge. Artstyle still dropping low. He is going to go down, but it's going to be at the trade of Zinka. He's going to go down to Svet and Ruij. Still going to town on this Viper, who's still alive, although Dread, he's off to the side. Can get hit with the Viper Strike. He's still going to stand strong, though. They're going to go for the 5th hero. That's going to be GG. Delirium's going to be chased down, and 15 minutes in with 15 kills, 16, making a triple kill for Svet. And that's going to be a nice and easy game number 2 for the Hellraisers. That's what I said, guys. Don't be fancy. Just play it normal, play it safe, and it'll take Hellraisers pretty far. They demolished the Yard team. And that means we're going to be moving on to a game number 3 off a very quick game number 2. Thanks for watching, guys, here on the HeflaTV ESFX channel. I'm Mike Loris, and I'll be back for game number 3 after a very short break, guys. Don't go anywhere.